Okay, so
Yeah.
who are you?
Okay. So my name is Ingrid Boesten. I am 41 years old. I am married. I have a wonderful husband named Nico. He's 36, and I have two beautiful children. They are 12 and 13. And we live in Kelowna, British Columbia. And I am currently living with stage 4 cancer. It's colon cancer that has spread to the lungs and liver. And I don't know how long I have to live. They're not giving me exactly how many months, but the cancer is growing very quickly. And yeah, so currently I'm enjoying every day at a time, and I'm just enjoying life.
So what is daily life like for you right now with stage 4 cancer?
Daily life exists out of, for me, I get up, I'm very sore most of the time. Like I have quite a bit of pain, like in my liver area, my lung area, and my back. And so I take quite a bit of morphine. So in the morning I get up and take my morphine instead of my coffee. Then I take my coffee. And then I spend my day mostly just sitting and resting, and I do a lot of reading. And lately, now that my pain is more under control, I'm actually able to do a few more things. So I actually started painting a little bit again, and yeah, I do things as I can. Like I just
Would be as if you could just give me a little history of the last couple of years, like you have cancer.
Yeah.
And it's terminal right now, but if you just give me a little nutshell.
Yeah, of where it all came from.
Yeah. And try to talk loud,
Yeah.
just because of the
Okay. Noise.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 years ago, I was working, and I was actually working. What was I doing? Just 1 second. Okay. 3 years ago, I started working at a condo. I was actually doing some renovations, and really cool because I'm really into like interior decorating and all that kind of thing. And I had a lot of energy to do like major renos. And I was doing like a major reno up at Big White, and after a couple of, I would say like almost like a month or so, I was working together with somebody, and I started having less and less and less energy, and I could hardly get up the stairs. Like I was so exhausted. And eventually I said, okay, I just need to go to the doctor, and I just need to have him check me out and see if my iron levels are maybe off. Or so my iron levels were so low, they were at like a 2. So when they checked me, they were like, you need like blood transfusion, like now. So I did the blood transfusion, and I felt instantly better. So I'm like, okay, no worries. And I was being checked for like celiac and all those kind of things. And eventually, when I had like 4 or 5 blood transfusions, I said, I'm not going to go in for another blood transfusion unless I know why I'm having them. So I went into the hospital, and I had a colonoscopy, and when they did a colonoscopy, they actually found a tumor. And they instantly knew that it was cancer. They told me also right away that it was cancer. And I was very determined that they were going to take it out right away. So actually after a couple of days, they removed it. And I think after a couple of weeks, they did a biopsy, and they said, yeah, you need chemo, and you might lose your hair and all those things. And so I did chemo after I think a couple of weeks after the surgery, and I think I did six months of chemo, so I did like around 12 rounds, and that was really hard on my body, and I did really well. Like I stayed strong through it all. I was very sick from it. Like I would be sick for about 5-6 days in bed, like really sick, and then I would kind of get better again. And on the day that I would feel good, I would go back. So that was really hard. And then kind of during that process, I had already also found out that they had taken out some lymph nodes that were also cancer, so I already knew that it was stage 3 cancer. And then on one of my anniversaries that I was going to celebrate that I was cancer free for a certain amount of time, I found out that I actually had cancer in my liver. So that made it stage 4 cancer immediately. And I realized pretty quickly that this could be the end. It wasn't going to be something that I could just fix real quick, or maybe even surgery wouldn't really work, or but they did suggest surgery. I had 70% of my liver removed, and I had some chemo before that, and they also thought maybe having some chemo after would help, and I had more suggestions of other things I could do, and I could go the all natural route. I kind of did that too. I was juicing, I was doing all the food things, I was doing the no sugar, but the cancer just kind of kept growing. When they did my liver surgery, I was cancer free, but I didn't really, I guess, trust that. Like people say that you're cancer free, but you kind of know if it's in your lymph nodes that it travels, it goes from one place to the next. So even though you can't see it necessarily on a scan, that doesn't mean that it's not there. And I didn't really, there was a surgery that I could do in Germany. I didn't really want to do that because I felt like it would be more suffering for me, longer process to recover, and I wouldn't. I didn't really think that I could be actually cancer free, I guess. So now I'm here. I have lung cancer. My lungs are both full with tumors. I have a few tumors in my abdomen somewhere. There's tumors again in my liver, and they can't really see it on any other spots, but that's where I'm at today. So, and I'm not doing any treatments. I'm not following some strict diet. I believe that God's given me this time to enjoy myself and to really enjoy my children, and to eat a brownie if they bake them for me and not worry about it. And I think I just have to live one day at a time, every day that God's given me, and it's been peaceful. Yeah.
Like you have cancer.
Yeah.
And it's terminal right now, but if you just give me a little nutshell.
Yeah, of where it all came from.
Yeah. And try to talk loud just because of the
noise.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 years ago, I was working, and I was actually working. What was I doing? Just 1 second. Right. 3 years ago, I started working at a condo. I was actually doing some renovations, and really cool because I'm really into interior decorating and all that kind of thing. And I had a lot of energy to do major renos. And I was doing a major reno up at Big White, and after a couple of, I would say like almost like a month or so, I was working together with somebody and I started having less and less and less energy, and I could hardly get up the stairs. Like I was so exhausted. And eventually I said, okay, I just need to go to the doctor and I just need to have him check me out and see if my iron levels are maybe off or... So my iron levels were so low, they were at like a 2. So when they checked me, they were like, you need like blood transfusion, like now. So I did the blood transfusion and I felt instantly better. So I'm like, okay, no worries. And I was being checked for like celiac and all those kind of things. And eventually, when I had like 4 or 5 blood transfusions, I said, I'm not going to go in for another blood transfusion unless I know why I'm having them. So I went into the hospital and I had a colonoscopy, and when they did a colonoscopy, they actually found a tumor. And they instantly knew that it was cancer. They told me also right away that it was cancer. And I was very determined that they were going to take it out right away. So actually after a couple of days, they removed it. And I think after a couple of weeks, they did a biopsy and they said, yeah, you need chemo and you might lose your hair and all those things. And so I did chemo after, I think a couple of weeks after surgery, and I think I did six months of chemo, so I did like around 12 rounds, and that was really hard on my body, and I did really well. Like I stayed strong through it all. I was very sick from it. Like I would be sick for about 5-6 days in bed, like really sick. And then I would kind of get better again, and on the day that I would feel good, I would go back. So that was really hard. And then kind of during the process, I had already also found out that they had taken out some lymph nodes that were also cancer, so I already knew that it was stage 3 cancer. And then on one of my anniversaries that I was going to celebrate that I was cancer-free for a certain amount of time, I found out that I actually had cancer in my liver. So that made it stage 4 cancer immediately. And I realized pretty quickly that this could be the end. It wasn't going to be something that I could just fix real quick, or maybe even surgery wouldn't really work, or but they did suggest surgery. I had 70% of my liver removed, and I had some chemo before that, and they also thought maybe having some chemo after would help, and I had more suggestions of other things I could do, and I could go the all natural route. I kind of did that too. I was juicing, I was doing all the food things, I was doing the no sugar, but the cancer just kind of kept growing. When they did my liver surgery, I was cancer free, but I didn't really, I guess, trust that. Like people say that you're cancer free, but you kind of know if it's in your lymph nodes that it travels, it goes from one place to the next. So even though you can't see it necessarily on a scan, that doesn't mean that it's not there. And I didn't really, there was a surgery I could do in Germany. I didn't really want to do that because I felt like it would be more suffering for me, a longer process to recover, and I wouldn't, I didn't really think that I could be actually cancer free, I guess. So now I'm here. I have lung cancer. My lungs are both full with tumors. I have a few tumors in my abdomen somewhere. There's tumors again in my liver, and they can't really see it on the other spots, but that's where I'm at today. So, and I'm not doing any treatments. I'm not following some strict diet. I believe that God's given me this time to enjoy myself and to really enjoy my children and to eat a brownie if they bake them for me and not worry about it. And I think I just have to live one day at a time, every day that God's given me, and it's been peaceful. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna readjust something here. You're doing great, by the way. Okay, so before we move on to like more footage or like longer bits of your story, if you could give me, are you leaning too far in the video? I only have you from the scarf up, and you're kind of leaning over. I almost wonder if we should push the.
This?
Yeah, that would. Yeah, and then even if you throw your arm up there, then it looks more like you're not leaning quite so far. One thought that I had is that if you could give me like a 30-second introduction about two things, like a 30-second, I'm Ingrid Boesten, I have an amazing husband named Nico, children. I know that people who know you are going to watch this, but just in case I make a clip of people who don't even know you, I think it'd be more powerful if you introduced yourself than if I was like, I want to tell you about my friend named Ingrid, you know? and then if you just state your condition, like if you say, I'm Ingrid and I have, I don't know how you word it, but whatever cancer, and I have you been given a length of time to live?
Not really.
Do you kind of feel like,
I mean,
there's a
couple months where they don't really say that, but
you could say, I may only have a couple months to live, or something like that. Something that would give people a gauge for like, who am I listening to right now? And show me that beautiful smile too. Okay, so who are you?
Okay. So my name is Ingrid Boesten. I am 41 years old. I am married. I have a wonderful husband named Nico. He's 36, and I have two beautiful children. They are 12 and 13. And we live in Kelowna, British Columbia. And I am currently living with stage 4 cancer. It's colon cancer that spread to the lungs and liver. And I don't know how long I have to live. They're not giving me exactly how many months, but the cancer is growing very quickly. And so currently I'm enjoying every day at a time, and I'm just enjoying life.
So what is a daily life like for you right now with stage 4 cancer?
Daily life exists out of, for me, I get up, I'm very sore most of the time. Like I have quite a bit of pain, like in my liver area, my lung area, and my back, and so I take quite a bit of morphine. So in the morning I get up and take my morphine instead of my coffee. Then I take my coffee, and then I spend my day mostly just sitting and resting, and I do a lot of reading, and lately now that my pain is more under control, I'm actually able to do a few more things. So I actually started painting a little bit again, and I do things as I can. Like I go for walks a little bit here and there, not a lot because I'm short of breath.
What advice would you give to someone who is fearful that they're either going to get cancer or that they just have got the news that they have it?
I think there's actually a lot of people that walk around with fear of what if, and I mean, there's so much cancer out there right now that a lot of people, of course, and especially when you look at somebody like my age, it comes very close, because if she has cancer, well, then I could have cancer. And, you know, if a 17-year-old boy has cancer, then, oh my goodness, my 17-year-old boy can have cancer. You know, so I think there's a bit of that, and it is scary, you know, like there is this sickness out there that's only as big as maybe a tiny little mustard seed that can completely destroy your life. But I always felt like cancer is not really the enemy, you know. It's the fear. The fear is the enemy. The fear is what cripples you and what destroys you and what makes you feel like there's no future and there's no hope, and that's the most crippling, I would say. And the cancer itself, you know, it's just another sickness that is out there that a lot of people suffer with. I think advice, like if you've just found out that you have cancer, yeah, I think it's for everybody very, very different. I think there's people that go about it and just want to fix it, you know, like they just want to control it, and they just want to be like, okay, I'm gonna do everything in my power, I'm gonna spend all my money, I'm gonna go to a place in Mexico, and I'm gonna spend, you know, $600,000 to see if I can get healing, and of course, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can. But for me, I kind of had to ask myself the question, can I fix it? Am I really responsible? If I'm gonna eat this or not eat that, will that make the difference? Is God gonna be like, Ingrid, if only you would have eaten this, you would have lived? I don't think God works that way. I think he would be a mean God if he would kind of give us formulas, you know, and one different from the other. I think I would have a hard time thinking of him as like, okay, well, here's the formula. I'm not going to tell you quite, you know, how it works, but if you do it, then you can live. I don't think of him that way. I think God knows our time. I think God use, you know, us doing like these really healthy things, you know, like juicing and all those things. I think God can bring communities together to do those things together, and make people feel like, you know, they're helping out and they're doing everything they can to make somebody feel like, hey, we can do this together, we can fight this thing together. I don't really feel like I'm fighting so much the disease as I'm fighting the fear. And
what do you do to fight fear?
Trust God. I trust that God's plan is greater and bigger than mine. I trust that it's not about how long I live, but it's about the amount of time that I live and what I do with that amount of time.
Do you think that is what caused you last summer, when you knew that the cancer progressed, but you chose to opt out of further treatment after you evaluated your the different routes you could go? You decided no more treatment. And was it the quality of life that you were wanting?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have, from the Canadian point of view, I didn't really have any options. The only options that were given to me was more chemo, and chemo would probably have given me a little bit a longer time. But I definitely didn't want that. Chemo chemo makes me feel like I want to die. And it's very interesting. People in the cancer clinic are super nice, they're amazing. But when you step in there and they put these things in your veins, you feel like they're putting death into you. That's what it felt like to me. And so it wasn't for me really an option to do that, because I want to live, and I don't want to live my last days not want to live, if that makes any sense. I had one option from a doctor in Germany that would do operations on my lungs, but no guarantee that that my lungs would be clear after the operations. And again, you're talking about a minuscule little cell that they can't see on a scan. So even if they do a scan and they say, okay, well, you don't have any cancer in your lung, there might actually still be cancer in your lung. And they're both, I would have had to have 2 operations, each lung one operation, and still with no guarantee. And I didn't want to be away from my kids, I didn't want to be away from my family. I just want to be home. I want to enjoy just normal daily life. And I don't want to. I would never judge somebody else in their journey, in what they want to do, because I think everybody's journey is so different, and they have to do what they have to do to have peace in their life with it. And if that means that they're going to do every single surgery and every single diet and every single, if they want to go to Mexico for a year and spend, all their savings, if that's what it takes for them to have that peace, then I think you need to do that.
Felt sorry for yourself, and whenever I've been around you, I'm always like, this woman does not seem like she's dying.
Yeah.
And then I always kind of go away wondering, like, how is it that she's not depressed, or that you don't look across the room at your kids and grieve that you're leaving them?
Yeah.
And maybe you do, and we just don't see it.
So what you need to do for me is to make these things shorter, because now I'm thinking of the last
Too many
thing.
things.
The last
Okay.
thing that you said to me.
Okay.
And not the first thing, so now I'm already
So
forgot
the
what
process of
forgot
what
you
have
asked.
what is the process that you've gone through emotionally
Okay.
over the last couple of years, knowing that you're dying?
Okay. Now?
Sure.
Um,
And answer back with a little
Yeah.
bit of that info so
Yeah.
that it makes sense.
Yeah. So part of the process of realizing that this could be the end is it's a very interesting process. I think from the first day that they say to you, okay, you have colon cancer, the cancer word is so big that anybody that hears that they have cancer, they think, oh, this is not good. And it's not good. So I think right away you start thinking this could be the end of it, and I think it'd be silly if you weren't. Like, even though you can focus on, oh, I'm gonna be healed, or I can do this and I can do this and I can do this, there's still in the back of your head, you know of so many people that have died and so many people that have suffered and have gone this route that you need to kind of be realistic. So I have felt depressed, I have felt sad, I felt not so much angry, I would say. I've never really asked myself the question, like, why me, and or, oh God, like, what did I do wrong, or, did I do something to deserve this, or not really like that. I always kind of felt like I thought, why not me, because I'm not better than somebody else, or or I haven't done worse things than somebody else. So in that sense, I always thought, you know, like if it is going to be me, then I really want to learn from this process, and I really want to almost make the best out of it, and then I want to really get out of it what I need to get out of it, and I want my kids to get out of it what they need to get out of it, and my husband, and I might not have a future, but they have a future, and yeah, the process is can be very hard, and it can be very sad. And I mean, I've done things like where I'm writing things down for my kids, of course, that I cry and I wish that I could be there for them, you know, when they're older, and wish that I could, you know, meet their husband and wife, and you know, meet their children. And of course, when I think of all of those things, it's very difficult to process that I won't. But I guess I believe that I'm just part of what I'm responsible for here, and I'm responsible for my peace in this journey here, and that's all I have to do. And everything else I have to let go of, I have to give back to God. It's not mine to keep. My kids are not mine to keep, you know, my husband isn't mine to keep. Yes, I've married Nico, but he's God's, you know, and my kids are God's. When they were born, I gave them to God, and I said, here they are. I want to take care of them, and to the best of my ability until I can. And you love them even more than I do, so you're responsible. Here, it's yours. And that has given me so much peace, and I've done things to prepare myself. I think in Christian circles we can sometimes be a little bit like more focused on like, oh, but you're gonna be healed, and don't talk that you can die, or I don't know if I'm too Dutch for that, but I believe in healing. I believe that God can totally heal me instantly right now, and that He can make me a complete and whole person. But I also believe that suffering is part of our life, and that happens, and that I don't know the reasons for it, but I know that a lot of good can come out of it.
You told me last week that suffering has brought you so much more intimacy than you experienced prior to suffering. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I can remember even when I was in the hospital, I remember a friend coming to visit me, and they were actually going to take my pain medication out, because I had just had the surgery, and that process is kind of a difficult one, and you know that you're gonna really suffer like within the next couple of hours, and I told her, I said, can you kind of coach me through this, because this is gonna be tough. And she says, oh yeah, of course. And we had one of the best conversations ever, and it was so powerful. And I thought, to me it's amazing that I can be here for her while I'm suffering and I'm really going through a lot of pain, and I can have this conversation that is beyond any conversation that we probably would have had in another stage in life. And very good, you're laying there in your hospital gown. When you're laying in your hospital gown, you don't have I'm not wearing nice clothes. I'm not wearing makeup. Nobody knows what I've done. Nobody knows what I've gone through. Nobody knows if I'm important or not. Or you're just there sick in your gown. You're just kind of like a number, I guess. But even though that happens, you can have these powerful moments that you can speak into somebody's life, and there is an intimacy in suffering that you would never experience otherwise. And I've had intimacy with my husband that I would have never experienced unless I was suffering, and with my children, and where you completely have to rely on them. I'm very good at just relying on myself, but it's amazing what happens when you rely on other people, and when they help you, and when they can be there for you and love you, and you can receive that. I think of myself as a person that gives a lot. So to be on the receiving end of things is very difficult. But it's a good lesson to learn. Yeah.
What do you think death will actually be like?
Okay. So, I'll just continue on with
Okay.
So I feel like I've been definitely preparing for dying. I feel like, I've done little things. I mean, sometimes you watch movies where people are dying and they do these amazing things, and you think, oh, should I do it like that? Or, it all gets kind of romanticized or whatever. And that's not me. I just have to do it my way. I am me. I'm not gonna do certain things. So I haven't. But I have felt like I just need to be realistic, and I don't know, what my deathbed will look like. I know that I don't want to be in a lot of pain. That would probably be one of my biggest fears, I would say. I know that I don't want to be a huge burden on my family. I know that I've wanted to prepare my funeral like as good as possible. I've done most of those things. I've gone to the funeral home and I've picked out a casket, and people say, "Oh my goodness, like you do all those things." But I think we just have to realize that, as you prepare a wedding or anything like a big thing in your life, you want to prepare yourself, and there's people in place for those things. So if I go to a funeral home, those people, that's their job. They are good at those things, and you don't have to be afraid, because those people are not weirded out about you dying, because people come there all the time that are gonna die. And it's actually a lot more normal than you would think. So it was, we did those things, and Nico and I are looking at each other and we're like, wow, that was kind of weird, like we just went to a funeral home and we talked about what's gonna happen to me. But it's good. Like it's so nice to be able to be prepared and to not put that burden on your loved ones, and just kind of have them guessing about what you would want. Well, I know what I want. Like, it's actually, it's interesting to know that you know what you want when you're in that position. You don't think you do, but you do.
Can you tell me something that you've planned for your funeral that you're really excited about?
I'm mostly excited about music. Like, my whole life has been music. I mean, I've been singing since I probably could talk. And everything that I think of when it comes to dying or preparing for dying or suffering, or like in my suffering, there's music. Like if I have an anxiety attack because I'm so scared, or like things are too overwhelming, if I have music, I know I'll be okay, and the funeral will be mostly music, and I love that. Like, there's been people that have been coming to my house to play worship a couple times a week sometimes, and it's like bringing heaven to me. And I feel like people will experience a little bit of heaven when they would come to the funeral, because that's what it sounds like to me, you know.
Did you ever want to do more with music in your life, like as a musician and singer?
Yeah. I think that's been something that's been always kind of a struggle, because I'm not like the greatest musician, or it wasn't time in my life to be like, okay, I'm gonna become this amazing guitar player or whatever. And I've always just kind of been like the backup singer or whatever, and actually that makes me really, really, really happy, and I love doing that. I wish my whole life would have been full of just music, but then I probably wouldn't have been, doing all the social things that I've done. That's probably would have been all that would have been doing, which it wouldn't have been good. So I think God's given me the right amount of music in my life for it not being too important, and for it to be something that ministers to me and that I can minister back to others, and for it not to take over. And I'm super thankful that I got to be around so many amazing musicians, and people have blessed me so much with their voices and music, and I just love every second of it. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Have you ever had moments where you thought death would be scary, like the moment that it happens?
Well, I mean, I've thought, what if this is all not true?
Meaning heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if it's all not the way that it's... But I really just can't go there. I think I've believed this to be true in my heart and in my soul. And there is no way, if it wouldn't be true, then I don't know. I believe with everything that I have that it is true, and I'm not really scared of the moment. I've asked for the moment. A couple of weeks ago I was so sick, and I was like, God, just take me now. I'm ready. I'm done. Listen to me. I'm ready to go. And he didn't take me, and which was good. But isn't it awesome that I can be in a place where I want to be with Jesus? Like, I think, like, to me it would be awful if I wouldn't want that. Like, then if I would just want to hold on so tight, that would be scary to me. Like, I love that I can be okay with it, And I've thought about it, about heaven, and I thought, what if heaven is like the real life, I mean, that's our eternal life, our eternal home, and this life is just the dream. So in heaven you have a dream, and that's this life. So then you have this life where you meet people, and you are with people, you love people, there's suffering, but there's laughter, and there's all these things that are amazing and not amazing, and hard and great, and then you wake up from it and it's like, wow, I just had this dream, and there are all these people and things, and it would be kind of neat.
The pain that you've experienced, because you're on a lot of morphine right now, and the pain that you've experienced getting up to this point, how would you describe pain? What has this cancer experience opened your eyes to about pain?
Pain is very hard to deal with, because you don't know, like, how bad it's gonna get, and when you're having a baby or something, it's like, even the first time, you don't know if it's gonna get worse or worse or worse or worse or worse. And I think with pain it's kind of like that too, but I I feel more confident now in the doctors that they wouldn't let me suffer like that. And I think that has also taken some of my anxiety away. But like a couple of weeks ago, I was in a lot of pain, and I was like, just keep me in the hospital, because then I'm the least without pain, and then I'm actually don't have all this anxiety about being in pain. So now that my medication is better, I don't have the anxiety, because I know that I can take something to relieve me, you know, from having major pain. And of course it can get worse and worse and worse, but I've experienced really, really, really bad pain, and I know too that God has pulled me through it, you know. And
What about how it's helped you see other people? Because there's people who live with chronic pain
Yeah.
that is not terminal.
yeah,
What has the pain shown you about the world around you and what people are living through?
yeah, I feel really bad for people that, you know, have chronic pain. I can almost imagine where they're like why you would have depression, or why you would not see light at the end of the tunnel, because it is so crippling, you know. And I guess I see people that have pain and they don't really, you know, they don't go to the doctor. They're like, I'm just in pain, I'm just in pain. But I'm like, do something about it, because it can totally take your life kind of away. You know, to me, I'm in pain, but if I can paint for 10 minutes a day and get up every day and say, hey, I actually feel purpose, and I still feel like I'm a bit functional, that's worth it to me. So even having a conversation with a friend, even if that's just an hour-long thing that I can do, and the rest of the day I would just be in pain, that's still worth it to me. If I would be all day in pain and I wouldn't be able to talk anymore, and I would feel like there's nothing for me to do, that would be really devastating.
If you could have your dream, if you could choose your dream dying scenario,